This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Hey, it's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I have a guest for you, folks.
Yeah, that part. Hey, man, shout out the Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big O's, San Jose. We're going to shut the shit down. Love and respect, though, man. Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, you should have known it because we told you we were gonna la-di-da-di be here for this big old party. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with your Smackdown post-show review for February 9th, 2024, right here on the Value Wrestling, right here on YouTube. We are live. Thank you for joining the party. Come into the chat, join the conversation, tell us what you think of tonight's Smackdown and how you are feeling. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's get those notifications out there. Share this out so we can get more people to come on in to the big party that we call the Smackdown Review Show. But first, let's get into the introductions. The one, the only. Oh, you know. And of course, I am the big time, and you can believe that. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. I'm about 90% there. Feeling a whole lot better. My voice is back. I can feel like I can talk now without feeling like I'm going to die. So, yes, we are here. And oh boy, what a Smackdown. What a way to open the show. Lots of stuff going down. We are moving on the road to WrestleMania. We got some more details. We got some more matches. We know what's happening with Seth Rollins going forward. So his equation is now in a different scenario. Doesn't look like he'll be in a tag team match at WrestleMania. We don't know some other things. We didn't get any really follow through from Cody, from Roman, from The Rock tonight. But next week, we know that the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, is going to be there along with Paul Heyman and The Rock. So we'll see how that goes. I guess we'll have to tune in Monday to hear a little more from Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, to tell his story as we move on the road to WrestleMania. Good opening. This is a show. I don't know what's getting more talked about. I think WrestleMania is getting more talked about than Revolution and Sting's final match. I think WrestleMania is getting more talked about, even though they may have sold out their pre-show tickets for Dynamite in Boston. Big business. It's out there, but I don't hear anybody really talking about it. It's like, yes, Mercedes Moné is going to show up, cool, but WWE's got The Rock and Cody and Roman and all this other stuff. The hottest ticket in town, the most talked about thing is WWE, and they are saying, stand by, watch what we can do, hold my beer. Roman's still in Vegas. No, Roman got on a flight with, I think, The Rock and flew out of there last night. Roman's left Vegas. He didn't want to show up for work tonight, so as Seth Rollins. We missed that great moment last night. Seth Rollins was out on the stage. Roman walked out, and Seth Rollins looked at Roman and goes, oh, look, everybody, he showed up for work. Roman looks at Seth and goes, look, everybody, he's wearing his wife's shoes. So there were so many great puns, so many great moments in last night's kickoff show, press conference, whatever. WWE sold more tickets to the press conference than AEW can sell to Dynamite. Crazy, ain't it? Anyways, it's true. It's damn true. All right, and we had a great commentary team. Wayne Barrett and Corey Graves are really, really good mixed together. This is the first time, I think, really in WWE history, we actually have two former wrestlers completely on commentary. Usually it would be a former wrestler, maybe, but then some color play commentator, or you'd have Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, which was one of the best teams. But Bobby the Brain Heenan wasn't really a wrestler. You had Vince and Bobby. You had Vince and Macho. You had Vince and Lawler for a little bit. And then you had Jim Ross with Lawler. Jim Ross with Paul Heyman. And then when Michael Cole came around and finally took that position, he's worked with several different guys, whether it was Jerry the King Lawler, JBL, and the list goes on and on. But I think this is really the first time in the years that we've ever seen on a main show two former wrestlers doing the play-by-play, doing the commentary. And I thought they blend really well. Corey Graves and Wade Barrett play really well off each other. I'm excited to see like this. Is Corey Graves going to be the man that's possibly being bred, set up, put in that position to take over for Michael Cole when Michael Cole comes to the end of that road? I think Michael Cole's definitely got revitalized now that Pat McAfee is there. But we all know that Michael Cole's been there. We're going somewhere near 30 years or so by now. At some point, we're going to see Michael Cole possibly ride off into the sunset or move into a different position within WWE where he might not be the commentating guy. If last night and tonight didn't get you excited for the road to WrestleMania, I don't know what will. You're exactly right, Mr. Miguel Z. If you didn't get excited last night, then you don't have a pulse. If tonight didn't help boost your interest and make you want to tune in to what's going on Monday Night Raw and get you to tune in what's going to happen next week on SmackDown, well, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Because it was legit fire last night. I mean, they cooked. Like Cody Rhodes said, why should the two members sitting at the table bother since they haven't done any of the cooking for the last 2 years?
2 years.
Zoo. Oh, the zingers that were coming out last night were great, and tonight was great. I mean, I think they started off hot, and we're going to get into that. We were in Charlotte, North Carolina, so we flew all the way back across the country from Las Vegas to get to SmackDown. Everybody was pretty much there. But we got a replay of last night's events, the back and forth between Cody, between Roman, and good God, you know what? If Paul Heyman isn't remembered for anything else, the way he sells stuff, because when the Rock smacked the snot out of Cody, you saw Paul Heyman sit there when he went, when Paul Heyman sold, who beaten the Undertaker for his streak, how he sold that. Anytime Paul Heyman's there to sell something, he makes it worth $1 million. He keeps you in the moment because you're just like, did he know or did he not know? And you're always like, I wish I could be in the fly on the wall with all of that. Anywho, top of my head getting cut off. But anywho, anyways, out is Triple H. We get Paul Triple H Levesque coming out, the COO. Nick Aldis, Adam Pearce already in the ring. Triple H talks about how we are on the road to WrestleMania, but things took a hard turn yesterday. For now, though, he needs to set the record straight. There's some people who don't know their role, but try to assert their authority when they don't have any. Triple H doesn't care where you sit because one thing is abundantly clear. The answers come one place and one place only, and you are looking at him. Triple H announced the main event at WrestleMania 40 will be Roman Reigns defending his WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. Now, he said the WWE Championship. I've seen different graphics that said WWE Championship. The graphic afterwards said undisputed WWE Universal Champion. So I know there's a lot of people wondering, are they dropping the Universal from this? Triple H said WWE Champion. He didn't say the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, but the graphic that came up after that read for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Hopefully they drop the Universal, just go back to WWE Championship after Cody wins it. They create a new belt, give us the big wig eagle belt that Cody deserves, and we can call it the WWE Championship in this undisputed and Universal crap, because I'm kind of over all that. I'm fine with it being just the WWE Championship. Anyhow, so Triple H sets that in place. And there's some people who don't like that, and it doesn't matter what you think, Triple H says. Triple H sends Paulus it off the neck. Aldis says it's time to shift focus to Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. The new number one contender will be determined by the Elimination Chamber, and qualifying matches begin tonight. He then says to show that we are unified as a new, I don't know if you're going to call it an authority, but they're unified. Triple H, Nick Aldis, and Adam Pearce. He handed off to Adam Pearce to show that they are unified, that they are have won. And Adam Pearce came out and said, here are the 12 wrestlers, if you look at the screen, that are going to have matches for their opportunity to enter the Elimination Chamber. We got Randy Orton, we got Big Bronson Reed, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Ivar, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and LA Knight. So those are all the 12 men that are going to have a chance of battle between one another in mixed singles matches. And we got a couple of them tonight. We got a couple announced for next week. But we know that all 12 of these men are going to at some point get a shot at this. And of course, when we talk about this, I think I'm pretty sure Dominic Mysterio is probably going to get in there. I wonder if Logan Paul might wind up getting in there, because you're looking at some of the what Logan Paul could do in that cage. Dominic Mysterio would just be in there because it fits where he's going. Bronson Reed might wind up in there. I don't think LA Knight is going to be in there from what we saw tonight. Unfortunately, I think they're building the LA Knight and AJ Styles. So Bronson Reed's probably going to be in this because they're either going to have Bronson Reed in this or Bronson Reed isn't going to be in it, and Bronson Reed will have a match of some type. Maybe he won't have Gunther because Gunther can't travel to Australia right now. I forgot about his green card situation. So Bronson Reed might be featured somewhere. Since he is from Australia, I'm sure Bronson Reed will be featured on the card somehow. Mm-hmm. So, but what a great opener. What a great way to get this show on the road. The Rock, or Triple H using some of the Rock's puns against him, setting a stage for what's to come. This is going to get really interesting. Mr. Clarke, what were your thoughts on how we opened SmackDown tonight?
I thought it was interesting that a couple weeks ago, you had the general managers who were kind of competitive, subtly. It's like doing business when necessary together, but kind of competitive. Now they are a unified management team.
Yes.
At least for the time being, for the current story. Like,
yes.
Okay, we'll see where this goes. And
as long as they don't become Triple H's Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe, I think we'll be okay.
Lord, yeah. No.
I know. I hope not, and I don't think.
Although at least Nick Aldis, I know, can still wrestle. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Pearce could go if he wanted to.
Yes. Well, and with Triple H getting into this, and I don't think Triple H can wrestle. Some people have said he has a pacemaker, which wouldn't allow him. I don't know what his current status is. I don't know if he's been medically cleared. We don't know where he is. I don't think he can. And I'm not trying to put it out there, but I know there's people out there going, well, maybe Triple H will get in the ring with The Rock some way.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if that's all possible, but a lot of talk there. Anyways, we got the first elimination qualifying match. We got Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. And Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles. This is going to be a qualifier match. The winner of the match gets into the Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia for the number one contendership at Seth Rollins' WWE World Heavyweight title. Before the match, McIntyre comes to the ring. He's still mocking Punk's injury. He's still wearing his shirt. States that his shirt's outsold everything Punk is, all of Punk's merchandise. I guess Drew McIntyre's CM Punk shirt's number one seller. So we'll have to see. And then he lets us know Punk isn't going to make a dime off of it. Anyways, and then LA Knight comes to join on commentary as McIntyre and Styles get started. A Bright Breaker sets up a rather harsh arm breaker to keep Styles down. They go outside with McIntyre sending him hard into the timekeeper's area as we take a commercial break. Excuse me, do you know I'm trying to be live on air? The fact that you are covering my face and have become the center of attention doesn't really work. Okay, you're going to go back to your spot? Okay, thank you. We good? Hi. Okay, you're going to clean me now. Back with Styles fighting back and getting in his half of double knockdown. McIntyre takes him up in the corner, but Styles pulls him out with a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. A quick future shock plant Styles, but he cuts the Claymore off. McIntyre cuts off the phenomenal forearm just as quick, though, and they head outside. Styles almost gets into it with Knight. Knight dumps a bottle of water on Styles. And then Styles gets shoved into Knight, allowing McIntyre to shove Styles into Knight. There you go. Who is it, please? Knight gets up on the apron to go after Styles, but it's stopped by the referee. Styles rolls up McIntyre, but doesn't get it. Styles is angry and decks Knight, but walks into a Claymore. This match went 11 minutes, 15 seconds. Drew McIntyre picking up the win here. And so Styles is out. This is why I probably believe LA Knight's not going to make it. I think AJ's going to cost LA Knight to continue their feud and go forward. But this was a great, solid match to see AJ and Drew McIntyre, two guys we really haven't seen in the ring. It's kind of interesting because Drew is definitely more heel. AJ's still kind of in a tweener state. They haven't really pulled the full heel trigger on it. He is battling with LA Knight, but it's kind of a grievance, so we don't know where really AJ Styles stands. So this was an interesting match to put two heels in a match, but it was a good, solid match. Both men looked good. You thought AJ was going to win there for a second, but Drew pulling it out. LA Knight costing AJ Styles. A good, solid match. Not a whole lot to say with it. It was good. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre?
Good, solid match. I mean, nothing to complain about here. I'm still wondering what they're trying to do with the OC. It's like, you have them in the background at times, but you're not really doing anything with them. But we still connect them with AJ Styles. So anytime we see AJ, I still want to know, what are they doing with the OC?
Exactly.
Yeah, I had fun with this match, just watching two good workers do their thing for, in a good, solid TV match.
So we go in the back and we have an interview with Sami Zayn. He talks about perseverance and surviving, and he knows he has to face Randy Orton tonight. He talked about how he was in the main event of WrestleMania last year, and this year that door is starting to close on him. So tonight he's got to go against the Viper, Randy Orton, one-on-one for his spot in the Elimination Chamber, for his spot and what could possibly be his opportunity to be on the WrestleMania card, because nobody's guaranteed a spot on that card. A NASCAR champion was here earlier. I forgot who it was. They talked about the NASCAR champion. Was it David Blaney? I forget. Anyways, that leads into the NASCAR. The NASCAR Daytona 500 is coming up, and The Rock is going to be the grand marshal of that event. He's going to announce the start of that event, so we know The Rock's going to be in Daytona for that big event. Pretty Deadly with a vignette. Pretty Deadly was not happy with Wilson's hand being hurt by Pete Doonanny and swear revenge. We get a great little promo package here of Pretty Deadly. It was really good. They still have some heat with British Strong Style, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bate. We look back at Bayley leaving Damage Control, setting up her match for WrestleMania. And then we got a women's qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. We know Becky Lynch is already in, and tonight we're getting Bianca Belair versus Miz Shin. We know this match was announced on Raw. So from here, we got Belair powers her around the start, but Miz Shin is back with some kicks to the head. A running kick to the chest gets two on Belair, who bails out to the floor for a breather. We take an early break and come back with Belair slugging away. Miz Shin kicks her in the face to put Belair back down, only to miss a cannonball. The handspring moonsault is almost countered with raised knees, but Belair sticks to landing. A spinebuster gives Belair two, but Miz Shin is able to catch her on top with a superplex. Eat defeat connects to send Belair to the outside, but a Styles Clash takes too long. Belair eventually gets the KOD. This match went 7 minutes, 13 seconds. This was a good, solid match between the two. Miz Shin's not really showcased or really given an opportunity to really show what she can do. So, and she's barely used. So, you get that. But, this was a match that you knew Belair was winning. She is moving on to the Elimination Chamber. So now we have Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair in this Elimination Chamber. So it's going to get very, very interesting. But it was a decent little match here to set up for what's to come. Your thoughts on
I had to
Miz
put
Shin
something together to give a reason why Bianca Belair was going to be in the Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
So, but it just, you could put anyone in here, it would have been the same result. The only kind of sad thing.
Yes.
It is what it is, and we move on.
All right. We go into the back where Triple H's office is, or whoever's office, but Triple H is here. Braun Breaker walks in. They shake hands. They have a little moment. Triple H pretty much tells him he's proud of him from, everything he's done. And Braun Breaker wants to, ask Triple H a couple questions because he doesn't know if he should sign for Raw or SmackDown. But before Triple H could offer him an answer, Paul Heyman comes in, shakes hands with Breaker. Breaker goes to leave. Heyman says, that is a heck of a talent from a wacky family. So, great stuff there. As we know, Braun Breaker is the son of Rick Steiner. And the Steiner family is a little bit of a wacky family. Go watch old WC.
Steiners, let alone when Scott Steiner became Big Papa.
Oh yeah, just go watch WCW. Go back. You can watch it. There's stuff there later in the years. Anyways. A serious Triple H asks what Heyman wants, so Heyman says, he backs down and goes, you know what, I'll be back next week. You're a little upset after yesterday. I'll let you have time to cool down, but he'll be back next week with his tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Heyman walks off screen briefly, only to come back to tell us that he will also be here with The Rock. Triple H says he's looking forward to it. So we know now, next week, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and The Rock are both going to be on SmackDown. Rock's going to be on his show, SmackDown. So it is going to be a big moment in SmackDown history as The Rock and Roman are going to be on the show next week. Triple H is going to be there. What are we going to get? WWE setting it perfectly. Just that little scenario makes you want to go, I can't wait till next Friday now because I have to see where this goes. And that is perfect. And here is Bayley for a chat. I know Mr. Clarke was excited because Bayley was on TV. Bayley was getting her big moment. She seems to believe that the fans are happy to see her. She talks about how much damage control meant to her. Bayley puts everything into damage control, and then they kept mocking her behind her back, and that hurt her. And here is Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai comes down, calling Bayley, telling her, "Oh, you haven't returned my calls." Kai says she didn't know anything about what the rest of the team was doing, but Bayley doesn't buy it. Bayley says Kai was always there with the rest of them, but Kai says she always believed in the team. Kai misses the original trio because she wouldn't be here if it were not for Bayley. It looked like Bayley's plan was working, and she thought it was going to work or going well, but then eventually it fell apart. Bayley asks where she stands, but here is Io Sky with the Kabuki Warriors to interrupt. The still injured Kai bails out of the ring as the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky surround the ring. She comes back in with a chair behind Bayley. Bayley turns to see Kai with the chair as Kai rushes at Bayley, but Bayley kind of moves out of the way, and Dakota Kai goes ahead and attacks Sky and then waves the chair at the Warriors. With the three of them backing down, Kai drops the chair. Bayley is a little confused. Bayley and Kai are staring at each other, but nothing happens. Points for adding some intriguing here. Kai drops the chair. Bayley eventually kicks it out. It seems for the moment Dakota Kai and Bayley are on the same team, or at least aligned for the moment. But there's a lot of tension there. There's a lot of story being told there if you're paying attention. Dakota Kai is probably going to eventually turn on Bayley at some point. Will Dakota Kai be what cost Bayley her world title against Io Sky at WrestleMania? This is the story we're going to run with. Could be very, very interesting. Mr. Clarke, it's your Bayley out here. Let me get you the floor so you can talk about Bayley.
It's my Bayley, and I'll cheer if I want to. Anywho, to see her in this current incarnation of her character as a face is an interesting transition. It's gonna be real interesting to see what Dakota Kai does, because we're all expecting her to turn on her, but when exactly? And like you said, does she cost Bayley the chance at the title? Does Bayley somehow beat the odds and win the title? There's just so much that can still happen between now and WrestleMania and at WrestleMania.
Exactly. Anyways, Randy Orton is here to talk to us about Sami Zayn. He acknowledges Sami Zayn nobody earns their shot at WrestleMania. He knows that for being on the shelf for over a year and a half. But he knows what he's going to do in that Elimination Chamber, and it's only going to be RKO. Bobby Lashley company ready for WrestleMania season, and this includes that he is ready for his Elimination Chamber match on Raw against one Bronson Reed. So this is going to be really interesting. I wonder if the final testament is going to interfere and cost Lashley his chance to be in the Elimination Chamber, or Bronson Reed will get a clean win over Bobby Lashley. I assume this would be the right place for Bronson Reed to go into the Elimination Chamber in Australia, since you can't have Gunther over there. Gunther can't travel to Australia due to visa complications right now. So, you can't have Gunther and Bronson Reed for the Intercontinental title, so I'm assuming Bronson Reed will probably beat Lashley. Whether the final testament shows up to interfere in all that, I would assume that Bronson Reed, being an Australian, he'd get his... he could be put on the card with somebody else. Yes, I get that, but I would think him in the Elimination Chamber would be very interesting.
It's a big-time match. It makes perfect sense. He would be able to be showcased. Don't think he would be winning, but
no,
at least he'd be a good showcase, and that's the bigger point.
Yes. Anyways, here we are. We are at that tag team match that we've been waiting for since last week. We have the final two teams in this little tournament, per se. The winner of this match is going to get to face the Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber. We have British Strong Style, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bate. You have the Bruiserweight and the big boy.
Big strong boy.
Yeah, the big strong boy, Tyler Bate, against my boys, DIY, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. Again, the winners of this get a title shot at Elimination Chamber. Gargano and Bate start things off with a pinfall reversal sequence, giving us a standoff. Dunne and Ciampa come in and go to the floor. Dunne misses a moonsault. Ciampa knocks him onto the announce table, with the other two coming outside as well. Gargano knocks Bate down, and we get some DIY clapping to send us to a break. Back from break, with everything breaking down and all four knocking each other down, Bates is up with a giant swing airplane spin at the same time, but Gargano breaks it up. The double Tyler Driver 97. Ciampa knees Bates in the face and hits Project Ciampa for 2, but Bate is back up to slug away with Ciampa, who kicks him in the face. The solo Tyler Driver 97 is blocked, and Gargano super kicks Bate into the corner. That lets Dunne come back in for the bitter end and the pin at 8 minutes 25 seconds. Dunne and Bate getting the shot is going to be interesting. DIY, of course, will be fine. DIY will probably get their title moment. I'm assuming Dunne and Bate will probably not beat the Judgment Day. I think DIY versus Judgment Day, Balor and Priest at WrestleMania. DIY getting that crowning moment of the tag team titles at WrestleMania is definitely, I think they're the next team. If any of the tag teams you look at, I think DIY are that next team that WWE wants to put the titles on and let them run that story. So let them run it at WrestleMania. They may be tag team champions for a year until next WrestleMania. Are we going to get the same story? Will DIY lose the titles then? Will Ciampa turn on Johnny Gargano after they lose the titles in a hard-fought battle at next year's WrestleMania? I don't know. I know Triple H has been dying to finish that story. And I'm not mad if he's rerunning the story to get us to the same point that we're ready for these two to battle over the Intercontinental title, the U.S. title, or even a world title at some point. Who knows? But definitely look interesting. It's good for Dunne and Bate to get over. British Strong Style, looking good to me. Good solid match with all these guys. Can't wait to see what British Strong Style and Judgment Day do in the ring. Your thoughts, sir?
I was actually surprised to see British Strong Style win tonight. But by the same token, it's like I'm in agreement with you that DIY is probably going to get the title shot at WrestleMania. So It's like, okay, I can. It's like, I mean, it wasn't going to be a bad match either way. I guess I was kind of just pulling for DIY a little bit more.
Yes.
But if the point is WrestleMania, hey, I'm fine with it then.
I think that's what we're heading to. I think that's a story we're telling. I think that's where you see the fallout of Judgment Day, and you see DIY take those titles then. And then I think DIY will probably have a 1-year title run. They'll come back to WrestleMania next year, pass those titles on to somebody who's going to beat them. And then I don't know if we'll start that Ciampa Gargano story there. But I just know Triple H, if he's writing the stories, he's booking this, he's always said that he wants to go back and finish that story because it never properly got finished. And he knows the fans have always wanted that story to properly get the finish. So we will see. Dirty Dom Mysterio's here, and he is talking about how Judgment Day is going to retain their tag team titles. Mommy's going to pit away Nia Jax, and that he's going to go in Elimination Chamber, and he's going to win it, and then him and Mommy are going to have matching titles. I think Dominic is going to win the match. I'm assuming he's going against Kevin Owens. So it's going to be interesting. This may be where Logan Paul costs Kevin Owens. But I have a feeling Dominic Mysterio is probably going to go over. Even though I love to see Kevin Owens in Elimination Chamber, I think Dominic's got to be that one guy in the ring that everybody's going to hate. He's going to get booed. You know he's not going to win, but he's there just to be that catalyst. I as much as I want Kevin Owens there, I just have a feeling Mysterio is going to go over, probably due to Logan Paul interference. And then Logan Paul might not be in it because Kevin Owens might keep him from going in it. We may get Kevin Owens and Logan Paul at Elimination Chamber for the U.S. title again. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think they might want... I don't know. I think they might want Logan Paul in that match. Of course, he's going against The Miz, so Logan Paul might win that over The Miz. Logan Paul being in that Elimination Chamber would be... I don't know what that fool's going to do.
but he'd be another good heater.
Yes. Well, you put Dom in there. You have Bronson Reed. You have Logan Paul in there. I think what you're looking at. Let's see. That's 3. We know Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. I don't know who's left. But it looks like it really what they're setting up for is a Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, to be the guys, to really be the catalyst of the possibilities of people to win that Elimination Chamber and face Seth Rollins. And it's probably going to be Drew McIntyre is my heavy favorite in that one. So Drew McIntyre took on AJ Styles. So LA Knight. Who's LA Knight facing then? Is Orton beat Sammy? Bronson Reed, we know, is going against Bobby Lash. Oh, LA Knight's going to go against Ivar. That's interesting. So maybe LA Knight is going to get in the Elimination Chamber, which would make sense. I don't see Ivar getting in there. So LA Knight was going to get Ivar because we know Randy Orton had Sami Zayn. We know Bronson Reed is going to go against Bobby Lashley. Kevin Owens is taking on Dirty Dom. Logan Paul is taking on The Miz. Styles took on Drew McIntyre. And so that leaves only Ivar and LA Knight. So LA Knight will probably get over Ivar there. So that's your group. You get LA Knight in there. But I think you're going to, it looks like it's going to be a Drew McIntyre Elimination Chamber win here. But they got Orton in there. Of course, I'm jumping the gun, but we'll get there. Anyways, Owens walks in on Dominic and tells him, yeah, you're going to face me next week, and he's going to beat him down. Owens will even dedicate the match to the greatest luchador of all time, Rey Mysterio. Dominic walks away. Here is Kevin Owens standing there alone, cueing R-Truth, who thinks Owens is The Miz. And Truth goes, don't let Nick catch you. And Owens goes, Nick Mysterio. Truth goes, no, Nick Aldis. And fans in the background started a loud chant of We Want Truth. Logan Paul comes in to see the general managers and has no idea why he's in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Those matches for unqualified people, and that's not true for him. Next week, he's fighting in Utah. In Utah, he'll do it just because he's going to WrestleMania and leaving as double champion. Nick Aldis makes Paul versus Miz in a qualifying match next week. Paul is not pleased, not to mention Paul's next U.S. title challenger being announced as it was advertised. So we'll have to see. Logan Paul will be in there. Maybe he won't be in there. I'm assuming he's probably going to go over the Miz because they want him to go in that Elimination Chamber and do something off the top. I don't know if this fool will climb to the very center of the cage and do some swanton crazy dive. But Logan Paul will definitely make an exciting moment there, but he's not going to win for sure. And I guess they're going to Utah next week. So
Salt Lake City.
Anyways, this leads us to our main event, and they came up with a screen thing that they told us we have one match to go, something new they're bringing us. So they told us we had one match to go, and we have Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn, and this was pretty much a hard match here because you're like, ooh, Orton, Sami. You want both of these men to get into the Elimination Chamber, but they're facing one another, two big baby faces in this era, and you're just like, Anyways, Zayn starts fast by sending Orton outside and teases a dive, only to flip back into the middle when Orton moves back in and Orton hammers away before heading outside again. This time Zayn drops him onto the announcer's table as we take a break. We come back for break with Orton hitting the top rope superplex, setting up the snap powerbomb on Zayn down again. The hanging DDT is cut off with a backdrop throw, and Zayn hits the big suicide dive. Orton is fine enough to drop Zayn onto the announce table, meaning the second hanging DDT attempt can connect. Zayn grabs a quick blue thunder bomb for 2, but Orton's right back up. We get an RKO at 10 minutes, 47 seconds. And Randy Orton has now moved along, solidified his spot in the Elimination Chamber. So we know now that Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton are your winners. As this match decided, Drew McIntyre walked out with a big smile on his grin, and him and Orton stared each other down as we closed out the show. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on this tag team match? The singles match for the Elimination Chamber. I don't know why I went tag team. My bad.
Maybe we just want to see more tag team matches.
I guess. Anyways, what was your opinion on Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton?
The match was good. My problem with Randy Orton is not in ring. but just relying his promos right now are just like the most destructive force, the RKO. I'm like, okay, can we say something besides how destructive the letters RKO are?
But don't you know that those letters are so devastating? They're the most 3 devastating letters in the world. The RKO. Yeet.
Oh, Lord. Thank you, Oreo. That's exactly how I feel about that. Jeez. Oh, man. Like I said, in ring, first of all, Randy was in there with Sami Zayn. You had to expect it to be a good match. Randy's still good at what he does, and Sami Zayn's a fucking workhorse. So, it could have gone either way, but Randy Orton popped off with the RKO, and here we are.
We got a good solid match here, and then the Randy Orton Drew McIntyre stare down. We know who the 2 main players into this Elimination Chamber are going to be. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out on February 24th at the bloody crack of dawn for some people, as it is going live in Perth, Australia. Again, I don't know how we're going to do a review show. We'll watch it, but it'll be some time because on the 24th of February, me and Mr. Z will be in Stockton, California for Stockton Con. We're going to be there for opening doors. So we'll have to schedule some time between Mr. Z, my time, Mr. Clarke's time to get together to not only watch Elimination Chamber, but to give a accurate and beautiful review. This could be a great show, so it's going to definitely be something interesting to talk about.
You know what would be the easiest way of doing it, right?
What?
Watch it whenever, and then just do it on the Weekly Roundup podcast.
Yeah, but then you're taking the weekly podcast away from doing a review show, and I don't want our weekly podcast should be a roundup where we have our discussion and not taken away by a one show. Because the Elimination Chamber could be a good hour show, and then we're not covering other news and subject matters.
I feel like we'll talk about this off air.
Yeah. I like to keep that a little separate to get its own thing, and then, have our pay-per-views. But yeah, no, that's it. We know now that The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to be on SmackDown next week with Triple H. It's going to be really interesting. I know a lot of people are buzzing. They think we're going to get Cody versus The Rock at night 1 of WrestleMania, Cody versus Roman night 2. I don't know if we're going to get Cody and The Rock touching each other yet. I think you could do a lot of things. Again, I think you can tie back to something I've said 100 times on this show by now. I think you let Cody pick the match. Cody picks a Hell in a Cell. Roman gets to pick the stipulation. Special guest referee, The Rock. Now, The Rock aligned with Roman. I think you can have Solo Sikoa and Jimmy break into the cage. Then you have Jimmy Uso and other, Sami Zayn or whoever help out Cody Rhodes. If Jacob Fatu is signed to WWE, you maybe have him debut that night to add to the bloodline. That or you save him for the night after WrestleMania on that Raw or that SmackDown technically. So I don't know. But then when Cody has Roman down and The Rock goes 1, 2, and it stops counting, then you have The Rock, and you could have The Rock and Cody have a stare down. Cody, The Rock could look at Cody and beat him up and slap him around somewhere and go, you don't have any friends left. Just lay down and, eat it. I think this would be a perfect time for Cody to call an old buddy, an old Texan. And I think we could get the biggest pop in WrestleMania if you really want to blow the doors off. If you heard glass break and dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, and Steve Austin came riding down, and, of course, The Rock would go nuts, ballistic, because he'd be pissed off, like, why is this fool here? Austin could get in the ring. Him and The Rock could have a couple punch back and forth, and then he could hit him with the stunner. The Rock goes flying. Austin pulls the referee jacket off of, or the shirt off of The Rock, puts it on. Cody hits the triple crossroads on Roman. 1, 2, 3. We get Stone Cold raising the hand of The Rock for that world, that WWE Universal Undisputed blah, blah, blah championship. And I think you could set yourself up for, you could set yourself up for a lot of opportunities. SummerSlam, you could have a tag match, Cody Austin versus Rock Roman. You can carry this bloodline thing on for another year. Are we going to get a bloodline civil war? I know everybody's jumping on this bandwagon. Right after WrestleMania, we're going into the bloodline civil war. I don't think you are. I think you're going to have Rock and Roman work together. I think you're going to have the next inception of almost a mega powers for this generation. I think you're going to have Rock and Roman working together to try everything they can do to screw Cody over over the next year. I think you're going to have this new bloodline with The Rock in a Survivor Series War Games match. We could possibly, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but my booking, the way I would see it, The Rock in War Games would be amazing. And you could have Cody's team versus the Bloodline. Yes, and this time it's the Bloodline. It's not Judgment Day, but you have the Bloodline. And then what you do is you go in the Royal Rumble, and this is where you have the Bloodline crack. Because they set it up for Roman to get in the Rumble. Roman's going to win the Rumble to get his shot at Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania to win the title back. But guess what? The Rock uses his power to get number 30. Now you get down to the final three. You have Rock and Roman in the ring with CM Punk. And The Rock and Roman are beating down Punk. And The Rock looks at Roman and goes, go ahead and throw that monkey out of here. And as Roman goes to throw Punk out, that's when The Rock dumps Roman. And so now Roman's pissed. He's like, no, this is my moment. And you could have The Rock going, no, you Rudy Poo, you wasted your chance. I'm taking this to do it right. And as they're bickering, you have The Rock turn and walk right into a GTS. He does his stumbling around, like he didn't get knocked to the ground, but he stumbles around on his feet, gets hit with another DCS, and dumped over the top rope. CM Punk gets to win the Rumble. We know CM Punk gets this WrestleMania main event next year. And CM Punk gets a little redemption on what happened when The Rock beat CM Punk for that world title, I believe in 2013, maybe 2012, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yes, one of the 2 years.
It was at Rumble, but and I think you have a big moment. And then you could set up The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, where you have The Rock beat a turning babyface Roman, which would piss everybody off. But then you can start the Civil War, because you could have Solo and maybe Jacob Fatu align with The Rock, and you could have Jimmy align with Roman, and then Jay come back into the picture to work with his brother and Roman as the baby faces to get in the Civil War. You can run that for another year, just to have Roman and Rock reface each other at WrestleMania, what would be 42 now, where Roman finally gets that big win over The Rock and gets made into a huge baby face from there. I mean, I just booked the next 3 years for this whole storyline. I mean, tell me when I'm telling lies.
It's viable.
No, it is. I mean, it would be some great stuff. But I know a lot of people think the Civil War between the Bloodlines is going to happen like right after WrestleMania. Like The Rock's just going to turn on Roman because he loses the title. And I'm just like, I think we're in a long-term storytelling. I think long-term gamers, the word The Rock used, I think we got a lot of juice on this apple. And I think The Rock knows it. And this new bloodline we're getting, now that The Rock's aligned with Roman, you've got to let this new bloodline ride out before you feud them. And I think we're building to next year's WrestleMania for Rock and Roman is where we're going. So I think over the next year, you're going to have The Rock helping Roman. The Rock's going to abuse his authority as a member of the director of the boards, whether he's the quote chairman of the board or whatever title he may have. He's on the board of directors, so he has a little authority, and at least the storyline, he can probably exaggerate that power a little bit more. So and Triple H is going to play an interesting role in this. It looks like Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are going to play an interesting role in this kind of new alignment we're seeing. We got a lot of get interesting. Not only is it interesting, Elimination Chamber just got turned up to be something that's a lot more watched than it was at the beginning of this week. Elimination Chamber, you're like, yeah, it's going to be good, but now we're like, okay, now that juice has been turned up a little more, we have a little more excitement going into it, and now we're totally like excited for WrestleMania. We're excited because now you got to watch Monday to possibly hear the response from Cody on all of this. Now we're going to watch next Friday to see what's going to happen between The Rock, Roman, Triple H, and then you're even excited. Okay, so once we get to WrestleMania, Cody wins the title. Where's this bloodline storyline for you going to go? You're going to be even interested in the after WrestleMania. So I mean, WWE's done brilliant. They are on the right track. TK needs to take notes of how to keep people interested, get people talking about a product like everybody's talking about WWE, because we're not just talking Elimination Chamber, we're talking WrestleMania. Tony Khan can't even get, people talking about Revolution. Nobody's really talking about Revolution like it should be. It's Sting's final match, and we know it's going to be against the Young Bucks, and Sting came out and complained that he never wanted to win the tag team titles, but he went along with it. So I'm assuming Sting, with that scenario, I guess Sting's going to take the tag team titles and probably drop them to the Young Bucks. But you don't have the talk about Revolution. Hell, you barely have to talk about big business right now. Tony Khan did the big announcement, and the WWE turned around on Thursday and just kind of put that on a backfire. You know, it's back there. Like, okay,
That's
Mercedes
not even on
Monday.
the back burner. That was blown out. That fire was just blown out.
But I mean, Tony Khan can't even get you excited about Revolution, Double or Nothing, and All In. When WWE's got you excited about Elimination Chamber, next week's SmackDown, Raw in a couple of days. What's going to happen at WrestleMania Night 1? What's going to happen at WrestleMania Night 2? What's going to happen to the Raw after WrestleMania? Where are we going to go from here? You know, you're looking ahead so brightly going, ooh, we got some stuff that I can't wait to see how it all going to play out. You look at Tony Khan, you're just kind of like, yeah, the Blackpool Combat Club facing off with luchadors again and again and again. And then he wastes his rampage for the night the Young Bucks come out and tell us why they attacked Sting. Apparently, I saw that before we came on the air that the Young Bucks were on Rampage to discuss what they did. And I'm like, why are you wasting that time? That could be on Collision. At least people somewhat watch it, but Rampage? Really?
Since we stopped covering Collision, I don't even watch Rampage
Yeah.
or Collision anymore, really. I might watch like the highlights a little bit just to somewhat keep up, but I just don't care.
I think Collision's a bunch of luchador matches. Again, I'm just like, okay, I don't care about the CML guys because you're not really giving me any history on them. And they're just getting beaten by AEW guys. So why should I get excited? And I know Mr. Miguel is here, and I know he's probably one of those people who's like, he like a good Ishii versus Orange Cassidy match. But for the rest of us, we're like, who's Ishii? You know, who is he in AEW? He may be something special in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I mean, you look at him at AEW, who is he? Is he really cool? Orange Cassidy's going to win, and we all know that. Orange Cassidy's going to keep that belt forever. Orange Cassidy might be the one that breaks Bruno Sammartino's record for holding the title longer. I don't know. Orange Cassidy might break the longest title reign ever if he can pass 10 years, which Fabulous Moolah is went like 10 years with the Women's Championship.
Right. That's because she owned it.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, the way Orange Cassidy, that stupid title is now, you're just like, is he ever really going to lose it? I mean, he did lose it and win it back, right? Or what? No, that was Christian Cage in the TNT title that doesn't feel important anymore. Like, they're going to have Adam Copeland come out and talk to us on Collision. You're like, yay. Like, how have we lost all, like, care for Adam Copeland? Edge, one of the greatest superstars in the industry, goes to AEW and dies.
I'm dying now? Jeez.
I say Adam Copeland, what's your first thought? Exactly. Thank you. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
You are telling this. Damn it.
Now I can't wait till Dynamite Big Business on March 15th because I can't wait to see Miguel's reaction. Yeah, it's always set up for 5,800. They already sold out the pre-sale. But I'm interested in seeing how he's going to react because we know the boss is going to be there. Mercedes Moné is going to show up, but there's a lot of talk. This is the night they're going to debut Okada, so I'm really interested in how he'll feel about that one. If Big Business now doesn't only turn out to be the boss, but also the Rainmaker, all in one night.
The thing is, we've seen the Rainmaker in AEW, and he's not looked the way he was. He was not presented the way he should be.
You mean the Sleep Maker, right? Because he puts you to sleep.
Oh, jeez.
As long as he doesn't ride a bicycle around the ring, I think we're okay.
You're never gonna let that go, are you?
No, never.
Jeez.
I mean, Tony Khan's making a joke out of all these New Japan guys, and then he's signing them all. I don't know why they're so crazy to come over here and wrestle for Tony Khan when it's just like he hasn't made any of you guys look important. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your SmackDown review, post-show review for the February 9th, 2024. I almost wanted to say December. I don't know. I don't know if we want to get to December anytime soon. Anywho.
Now we're enjoying the current ride with WWE. Let's kind of go with this current ride.
Yes. WrestleMania is 55 days away. Did you guys realize that? It's only 55 days away.
And the great thing is we have a WrestleMania before WrestleMania. We just happen to call it Elimination Chamber.
Yes, we do.
If you go back to last year, where Sami and Roman was the main event, that kind of had that WrestleMania feel. We'll call it the pre-WrestleMania. They're doing it again this year and doing it bigger in Australia. Makes you wonder what Elimination Chamber next year might be like.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know we're also going to Paris for Backlash, and then we have the Bash in Berlin at the end of August. So, no, Mr. Z, it's no longer the Switchblade. It's the Safety Scissors. Get it right. It's Safety Scissors Jay White.
Oh, Lord.
He's lost that edge, so he can't be a Switchblade. He's got to be Safety Scissors, nice and dull. And if somebody gets this video to Jay White, hey, Jay White, you are a pair of safety scissors now. That is what your character becomes. I'm sorry, I think you could be a great talent, but the way you've been presented in AEW, you are the safety scissors of AEW. And I would tell that to that man's face just as the same. I'd call him the safety scissors without blinking an eye because that's what he is. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to agree with me. I'm just saying, from my perspective, he's no longer a sharp switchblade. He is a dull pair of safety scissors. The ones you get in like kindergarten that you can't cut anything, you know? The ones you get in first and second grade that you're sitting there, you're trying to cut the paper, it's just like especially when you're trying to cut construction paper, it just doesn't go through, you know? You get the perforation, you got to pull it out because it didn't really cut it all the way. Or is that, am I just showing my age? Is that just an older generation? Have they made better safety scissors these days?
I have no clue. I'm not even going to worry about it like that.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being here. We thank you for joining us. If you're watching this later, make sure you drop a comment below. Hit that like button. Ring that bell for notifications so whenever we go live or new content comes on the channel, you'll be the first one to be notified. I know what sign I'll have next time I ever go to AEW show. Well, then I would say this. If you ever go to another AEW show, it's called Slap-a-Booch. Just why would you pay to go to a show that you know sucks? Of course, you're the master of free tickets, so, you know, I can't be too mad at you. So I guess if you go for free, then, you know, you're not spending any money, then I guess you can, if you go to AEW free, then, I mean, hey, you know, can you really be mad about it? I gotta give him. I gotta give him some time to say something, maybe respond. I don't know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being here. We thank you for tuning in. As always, I am the big time. That is Mr. Clarke. This is your SmackDown review. Mr. Z, you ran out of time. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna say goodnight. Adios.